Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome in to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Today, we continue our comic book movie journey through film with 2009's Watchmen. It was released on March 6, 2009. It was written by David Hayter and Alex C., based on the graphic novel co-created by Dave Gibbons, directed by Zack Snyder. I am Colton Robertson. I'm joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. And yeah, we got a little bit of a scheduling conflict this week. Yes. Oh, last week I was like, we're going to talk The Dark Knight on Friday. Well, too bad. Tough titty. Stuff happens. Stuff got in the way. We had to reschedule that for next week. So Watchmen slid into the spot here. And that's that. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. You don't know anything about that. But yeah, man, Watchmen. It's a controversial one in terms of a movie. Mixed reception, to be sure. Even including a bit of a mixed reception here based off initial reviews. Joe, how you feeling off your first watch of Watchmen?
Ooh. I've seen the show and I've forgotten largely a lot of it, but I just remember how good it was. And then I'm reading these comics, dude. I'm on vacation too. I'm chilling, I'm chillaxing. Like, I couldn't ask for a better setting to read these in. And I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, this is like, when I was reading All-Star Superman, I mean, it was fun. It's great. And but like, this is like a long continued.
This is a book. Epic.
Like, oh my god, it's so amazing. And I think I only got through issue 7, I believe. I think at the end of what I remember, Rorschach, he's in prison. He threw some hot, some flaming oil on a guy. And then Night Owl and Sally have their kind of like night out. Yeah. Is it Silk Spectre? That's what she goes. That's right. That's what she goes by. I was trying to remember. Sally Jupiter.
Sally Jupiter, I believe, is her mom.
Oh, is that different?
And she's Lori.
Oh, wow. Oh, the actors. Wait a minute. I guess on their IMDb, Sally is a brunette, Lori is a blonde. That's why I.
Oh, yeah, they're flipped. Yeah.
So that would be it. But okay, yeah. That was their night out, I think, was the last thing I remember. And him having like that nightmare of them blowing up. That was cool. Like, I mean, the art in
Dave Gibbons can fucking draw.
Holy shit. Yeah. And in all of the I know I'm talking a lot about the comics here and not the movie, I guess, but like just all of you have Dr. Manhattan, like, kind of him experiencing multiple things at once. You have, like, a child reading a comic in that world that is also relating to the story that's going on.
Yeah.
And then, like, super deep dives into characters at the end of every issue. That's something a little different, and it's always, like, in-universe. Like, I love Rorschach's, like, his file, that you kind of got on him. Which was really cool. So the comics were really cool, and I was like I was like, oh my god, I'm in this world. I thought I was going to read some Game of Thrones while I was down there. Zero. Game of Thrones was read. It was only the Watchmen comics. So I was ready for this movie. I'm ready. I turned it on that night, and like, it's a pretty faithful adaptation of the comics, and it was very nice to see that. I'm usually one to say that, like, take it a different direction. Don't just copy the comics, or else that's kind of boring. But like
There's nothing you can really do here.
This gave me a different outlook on that a little bit. If the source material is good enough, it works to just adapt it exactly how it's written.
Happen.
And like some of the, even they adapted like perfectly some of the panels that were in there. Let alone like lines. Every event was pretty spot on. I only got halfway in, so I don't know how it ended. Necessarily. I'm excited. I guess I got this like kind of half in before seeing the
You only got halfway through the comics?
Yeah, issue 7, I believe. Aren't there 12? I guess a little over half.
Yeah.
So I think there's 12 or so.
Yeah. The ending of the comic is
it better?
Not 1-to-1 with the
Oh
movie.
my god!
Like,
so okay, maybe that's why I like it.
Really not 1-to-1 with the comic. Like, extremely not 1-to-1 with the comic.
I was really hoping that wasn't the case, because I was going to be like, "Wow, what a faithful adaptation of these comics!
Yeah,
so great."
No,
like, I was about to
and I don't want to spoil it for you since
Okay.
you do love the comic. I definitely don't want to give away the ending there, but it's no, there's you're deep enough into the comics now to know that the comedian visited Morlock and he spoke about this island and there's artists and there's authors and there's this and there's that. None of that's in the movie.
Yeah,
None of that's in the movie.
I was waiting for that.
So that's the thing, is that like the part of the reason that like, and here's the thing, Zack Snyder is, he loves the gritty, the dark, the quote unquote realistic, if superheroes were real, this is what it would look like. You get that a lot with Man of Steel and later on his work with Batman vs Superman and stuff like that. And it's still got this heightened reality to it, obviously. Like, there's nothing about this that is realistic, I think that it plays with a lot of the same themes that Man of Steel does later on, where it's like, there's a quote in this movie where the newscaster goes, Superman is real, and he's American. And then later he's like, I was misquoted, even though it was literally him saying it. I said, God is real, and he's American. So like you get a little bit more of this, like, when people are granted the power of gods, how does that affect them? How does it affect the world? How does it?
That would have been nice. Yeah, because the island I thought was just Antarctica. In my head it was like that makes sense. What the island will be in the end. Because I thought they were just gonna nuke the whole Earth, and then Antarctica was gonna be left untouched, and they were gonna start over from new, sort of thing.
No, and that's the thing, is that like I don't want to bash this movie too hard. Like I do, I think it's well done. It is rather faithfully adapted up to a point.
I literally was hoping. I'm like, please have it just. Please have the ending be exactly how it is. I'm like, I'll be okay with it. Like, I just want to.
No, it's interesting. I'm interested. I wanted to know how you felt about the ending of the comics versus the ending of the movie.
Wow, I think I'm going to be disappointed. Honestly, because the comics they were building towards something, dude. And I was like kind of waiting for it to happen.
You're going to be disappoined with the movie's ending compared to the comics?
Yes.
That's where my money's at, simply because, like, so I had a weird relationship with the Watchmen universe. I watched this movie, and then I watched the TV show thinking it was a sequel to the movie.
Oh.
It is not. It is a sequel to the comics, and it's actually very important that that's the case. Because the ending of the comics is much different than the ending of the movie. So the show starts kicking off, and I'm like, what the fuck are we talking about here? I'm like, what is this? But so then after I watched the show, I read the comics, and then I watched the show again, and then I read the comics, and then I watched the show again, and then I read the comics. And I haven't watched, this was my second viewing of this movie, and it was simply because, and on the first viewing, I had a grand time. I remember I watched it for the first time right around the launch of HBO Max. Zack Snyder's Justice League had just came out, and it was like, Zack Snyder's high on the mind, DC stuff is high on the mind. Let's go ahead and watch Watchmen for the first time. And I remember liking it a lot. I had a really good time with it, and I believe I watched it so I could watch the TV show. Little did I know that it was not the same thing.
Okay.
But this was a rough second viewing for me. I found it to, in adapting what is easily one of my favorite books of all time. I mean, like, it's just, Damon Lindelof, the creator of Watchmen, the TV show, regards Alan Moore's Watchmen as like a great piece of American literature. Not like, it's a great comic. No, it's American literature.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And I agree, and Alan Moore certainly has that persona behind his work. You'll notice that he is not credited anywhere in this movie, and it's because he refuses to be credited for adaptations of his work. He does not want them to happen. He doesn't like them getting adapted onto screen. And with decent reason. I don't think this does the comic justice, even in the one-to-one adaptation of the events, simply because we dive so much deeper into those characters within the book. In the book, I care about these people. In the movie, I feel bad. I'm like, that sucks.
True.
But it's more like, it's cool. The movie's cool.
Yeah.
The comic is much more than cool. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of my gratification out of this movie was knowing what was in the comic. It was like, oh, I know this character so much more.
Here adds this adds a layer to that. This adds a layer to that.
I don't think anyone acted out of character.
No.
It's just that we didn't get what you got in the comics.
No, yeah, it's just not nearly, it doesn't have nearly the depth, and it's still nearly 3 hours, which makes it a slog for me. Like, it kind of dragged for me. And that's and again, first viewing, I did not feel that way at all. I remember the first time I watched this, I was like, that was fucking dope. I and it's still super cool. I don't want to badmouth this movie like crazy, because I think Zack Snyder is a talented director. I think that these characters are cool enough, cool. That's the word I keep coming back to, because this is just a cool fucking movie. There's an argument to be had that the movie adapting Watchmen probably shouldn't just be cool. There's this rawness, and I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. It's bleak. The book is, there's this hopelessness that treads through, I think, every page, and the glorification of the comic book hero in this movie is kind of the opposite of what the book is trying to do. The book is trying to be, the book treats it as an addiction. Like, it's something that they indulge in, and it makes them worse. It makes them worse for it. Whereas Dan and Lori getting their groove back is them getting their groove back. Whereas in the comic, it's like you're falling into old habits, and it's, you're going backwards. But in the movie, it's like, you're doing it again. You're fucking on one, I mean, and frankly, I like separating the source material from the movie, because I think within the context of the movie they are making, that moment rocks. Them getting their groove back, them fucking in the Archie, and then as they orgasm, hitting the fucking fire, and it got like pimp. Love that.
That was pretty baller.
That's just cool.
He couldn't get it on, before. He couldn't do, he's been waiting for this moment for so long, and he still wasn't it. It took the costume,
Yeah, he had to get it back.
Oh, dude. Yeah. And you're right about the adaptation, the book is way better. It undoubtedly, but that is a lot more time that you that you just have to read 12 issues or whatever. And there's also I saw some I don't know, like 4 others that were noir or like black and white, and I think they might have just been. It looked like it was the same stuff, but just in black and white, and not colored in. I don't know if they were like actually different. I didn't go into those, but
no,
man,
they've got some interesting spin-off comics out of Watchmen, but none of them
stacks up to the. Yeah, I mean,
no, and the thing is that it's the heart of this book is Alan Moore. It's his writing that makes it what it is.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a pretty iconic book called Doomsday Clock that is it again, very mixed reception. Some people love it, some people hate it, and it's Dr. Manhattan and Superman meet. You know, so like the thing is that exactly what this movie does is something that Alan Moore never really wanted for these characters. You know, like these characters are meant to exist.
Yeah.
As they are, you know, like, but DC gets it and it's like, oh, Dr. Manhattan could face off with Superman and we could do this with this. And there's a literal point that the book makes about the commodification and the distraction and the, you know, like, if you are using superheroes to distract yourself from shit that's going on, if you're capitalizing on it.
About to start and you're escaping in these comics, kid. You fucking, he's like, you fucking idiot. Yeah, like, he's like, shut up and reading. You know, he's like,
yeah, exactly.
This isn't even good. Doesn't even have an ending, dude. I'm not buying this.
So, and then that's the thing is that these, you know, the something that makes the book so rich too is the side characters. I appreciate that we spend so much time with, and like it's 2 hours and 45 minutes. Literally, there's a motion comic on HBO Max. I don't know if you saw this. It's literally just every issue of Watchmen in motion with words and stuff, with a narrator. And it's cool, you know. Like I don't think it does the book justice,
that's
but
going
it's
in the background like a lot now. Now that I know that exists.
Like it's a fucking vibe. But that's the thing is that like every single issue can be turned into 25 to 30 minutes, and there's 12 of them. So if you can do that with each issue and you think you're going to get this in a quarter of the time, it's just not going to go well. Or not as well as it could. I think that they did I think Zack Snyder did about as good as he possibly could have in the amount of time and what he wanted to do. I mean,
that's what I was going to, cuz the movie opens up like, I mean, 1-to-1, like with the like comedian and then Rorschach coming in doing his thing. Like it was 1-to-1 and I'm like, is the whole movie, like, are they actually just using this as the script? I'm like, oh my God.
Well, and that's the thing is that like 3/4 of the movie
is pretty much scripted.
Is just fucking exactly what happens in the comics, just missing a few of the
in between
minutia, you know?
Yeah.
Like, a couple of my favorite books from the series are books 4 and 5, I believe, maybe 4 and 6. And it translated to my favorite scene in the movie. And even it doesn't do the issue justice. Dr. Manhattan's origin and him building on Mars. That is one of the best comic books of all time. That single issue.
They fucked it up, dude, in the movie. I was like, this was the moment I'm waiting for. Like in the movie. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, it was so beautifully done in the comics. Like the 12 seconds ago that I dropped the pic, you know, him like going back and forth.
And that's the thing is that like this time around, I did do the motion comic thing because I've read the book a couple times. I was like, I'm intrigued by this. Let's go ahead and check it out. You know, I've seen it. I've scrolled past it several times. If they'd done a 1-to-1 adaptation of the book, this would have been a 30-minute sequence, you know, like it would have taken fucking forever. And it was still very, very cool. Like it's my favorite scene of the movie. And even so, they mess it up, you know, like, but it goes to another one of my favorites. Dr. Manhattan is my favorite character in Watchmen. Okay. And it's mostly because of the revelation he comes to through Laurie here, where he's like, you know, the apathy he's gained from this all-knowing nature that he has, like, I can't do anything to change anything, so why should I even care? Everything's so minute in the grand scheme. I mean, like, nihilist is all shit because he's been granted the powers of God and he can't do anything to change anything. So he's like, I'm gonna just blitz, do my own fucking thing. Deuces. But then to come back around and see the miracle that is life, fucking awesome. I love that choice. That's pretty faithfully adapted, you know. I don't know if you got to that point in the books where,
no,
you know, he takes her up to Mars, and
no,
that's pretty 1-to-1. The revelation that comedian's her dad and stuff like that. That's
okay.
In fact, in the movie, I think that through a movie you can pull off a reveal like that much more satisfactory than you can reading it, just because like the music's building and the dialogue is happening and it's overlapping, you know, so like there's just it's a very cool reveal in the movie. In fact, that might be my favorite scene, but like that pullback, the giant smiley face, that's a panel out of the book, you know, like it's pretty cool. It's really cool.
The handing of the beer, no woman's ever done that for me before. Like that was like perfect. I remember that. And like the end, I can't wait to get to the ending because like that realization that he has of like how life was, you know, same amount of particles in a dead body as there is in a live one. And, you know, life and death doesn't mean anything to me, blah, blah, blah. And now he's like, oh, I somewhat get it. I don't think he fully gets it, you know?
No, right.
At least in the movie, based on like what he does. Cause I mean, the ending is, I don't really know how to feel about the ending of this. Like that, I like it's, man, like I hate it that like, even that like Rorschach dies, but I think like what he died for is like awesome. Like I thought it was really,
for sure.
Like, I didn't want him to, like that was the only death in the movie where I was like,
do it.
No. I was like,
do it.
Like, no, dude. Rorschach, I mean, he got the clean sweep for me. Like I was, and learning more about Jackie Earl Haley. Dude apparently is a black belt. He's just a black belt, and I think it was like, I might have been jiu-jitsu or taekwondo. I'm not sure. But he was like, I'm not even going to use any of that experience for this movie because Rorschach wouldn't fight like someone with a black belt. He would fight like someone a lot more scrappy and just, you know, going for I don't know, more street fighting skill. But apparently this dude just has it like that. He also was George Noyce in Shutter Island, and that like I was looking for something. I'm like, what the fuck is he? I'm like, who the hell is this dude? Yeah, George Noyce in The Cell. You know, like yeah. He's him. He's also Freddy Krueger in Nightmare on Elm Street, which is pretty cool. So this dude, I mean, he's just a freaking. He's a minute, like, he's just, I don't know, a creepy, like, watch out for this guy. And I love, like, in the comics, how, like, he walks in the bar, and everyone instantly is like, please don't kill anybody. You know, he's like, please, dude, like, oh my god.
Man, but, like, that's, I appreciate the way they adapt it to shorten it. But god damn, that's the other issue of the comic book that I'm like, this is as good as it gets. When they shortened the whole thing with his therapist to, what do you see in these pictures? I see this, butterflies. What do you see? I see a couple of suns. But in the comic books, he deludes this man so deeply to start thinking like him. That's
and it was a good scene though, like. His origin, you know, like his origin, it was really cool. But man, was it, like, everything is real. You're right. Cool is the word. Like, this is like, if you read the comics, this is going to be cool, but you're not going to be satisfied, like, with the story. It's not going to be
fulfilling.
And all of that. But if you're in for just a good time to see these characters on screen, actually faithfully well, you know, adapted as their characters would be, they like, there's not one act that any character does that is, like, outside of their character. And they're, like, they are pretty much one-to-one. They say the same things, you know. There are literal one-to-one frames in this, but it's not as fulfilling. That's for sure. But I don't know.
And that's the thing, is that I think people are often tough on this movie as far as the adaptation is concerned. Like, if you're going to have a problem with the adaptation, it's that it was adapted at all. You know, it's like, you can't pull off what the Watchmen comic does in one movie. It's not possible.
True. Yeah.
You know, and it would be completely unfulfilling to do it in a series of movies, because there's not a formal place where you can stop. Like, it is a long fucking story, and that's all it is, you know? So like, it would be incredibly difficult to pull off in anything other than a TV show, and you don't want that. You don't want that. So like, and that's the thing, is that the book was made to be a book, you know, it was made to be a comic book. And I think that in that medium, that's its fucking peak.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean,
Dave Gibbons can fucking draw, man.
It's
God.
Everything's on in the comics. And I don't know, I was very going into this, I was like going to call this the gold standard for adaptation. Based on what I've read so far, like up to my point. So I don't know how it ends, but that is what I was going to call it. Like, for the project so far, I was like,
as far as we have not covered a movie that is straight up just ripping a comic book story. And, you know, there are influences from multiple places, and that's all very well and good, and it probably lends itself to you gaining the ability to make a better movie, you know? But if there is a comic book story that is that good, the movie's gonna be entertaining at the very least. And this movie is entertaining, you know?
Yeah, I guess, you know, and he didn't, that's the thing, is that he didn't try to get everything in there. Well, I don't know. Does it end with kind of what the ending would be, or is it like miles? Like, is there just still so much? I mean,
the same idea. Cataclysmic event triggered by Vite unites the world against a greater enemy.
Okay. Oh, okay. Oh my god, that's gonna be so fucking good. Holy shit! I'm like, yeah, like I have never enjoyed reading a comic as much as these, and the adaptation rating is like, it is an interesting one. I thought it was a surefire 10.
No, this will be the most interesting adaptation, because we don't get anything like this. Because we don't have. I wish there were more movies like this. Because here's the thing: is that, like, when it comes to, you know, I mean, I can't imagine the amount of origin comic book movies that would just be better if they adapted the first arc of a comic book character. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they were just like, oh, well, this is the character's definitive origin, here's these 4 comics, put that to fucking screen and you're set. You know, like, and I get that you want to do something original with the character, you want to do your own thing, and frankly, I invite that. You know, I really do. But there are some comic runs, like, shit, when it came to, like, Moon Knight last year, there's all sorts of shit that show could have done that would have been fucking brilliant in a smaller sense. They went for this giant fucking Egyptian mythos thing that is, you know, it's a part of Moon Knight. But if somebody's never known Moon Knight before that show, that's what they think Moon Knight is. Damn. You know, but like, that's neither here nor there. But like, compared to that, this does capture, I think, the general spirit of Watchmen, the characters of Watchmen, not the book Watchmen, which again makes it very, very interesting. You know, I think that Zack Snyder and what they did with this, like, making this movie at all, you know, the villain is Adrian Veidt, the man who has capitalized, commodified, and commercialized his time as a superhero.
He's kind of like not in the movie at all whatsoever as well. It's like, and I guess it makes sense. Like, he's doing the stuff in the background. He needs to be, you know, like, I I like a villainous role, you know? Like, there was just the threat of nuclear war that was also kind of just the villain. Like, war seemed to be kind of like a villain, you know, that was pushing things forward. But I like more than just Russia or USA to throw at a villain in a movie. And I could have, I don't know, maybe just, well, I guess it works better for like the big twist at the end to be like, oh, fuck, wow, like, holy shit, yeah, this dude's like.
Yeah, no, and that would be well and good. I think the twist that he's the villain in the movie is like excruciatingly underwhelming. Like the twist that the comedian is Laurie's dad is much better twist than
That's true.
Oh shit, Vite's behind it. You know,
yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, it was kind of like, oh shit, wow, I guess, that makes sense. You know, I was kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, that whatever. Haven't really seen what that guy's been up to.
Like the cool fucking twist with Vite is like, I'm not some comic book villain. You didn't think I'd tell you my whole fucking thing. I triggered it 35 minutes ago.
That was awesome because I'm fully expecting like, oh yeah, Dr. Manhattan's gonna come back in. You know, he's gonna stop him before all this happened. And I'm like, oh shit, like gone, like city's gone,
destroyed.
So you know, it's not a happy ending at all. Like,
no, far from it
whatsoever. And like. Rorschach, I like, as far as like the books as well, I'm like, Rorschach is a pretty badass character. Like, I want more of like him every time I read. So I'm interested to see if it like sticks through the whole way. But like his like,
I love the
end.
I love the anti-hero thing he's got going on. I love he's got a very, very strict set of morals, and I do not agree with them. But it's the principle of the thing, the fact that he is so willing to commit to it and give his life for it, that he becomes admirable. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's because, I mean, he's flawed as fuck. One of the more flawed, like, he's the protagonist of this movie, which is wild, you know, and the protagonist of the book. And for him to, you know, he's calling women whores, and you know, he doesn't like gay people, you know, like it's, he hates liberals and left wings, you know, like,
this is there's, yes, his outlook on the world is very dark. Very, very dark. But, you know, like his origin in the movie, you know, it's much better in like seeing the back and forth and him just go at his therapist or a psychologist, whatever. I don't know what the official title is, but, that like seeing the like him going to find out that girl was murdered, fed to the dogs, and like you know, you know, the whole point of that story was I am no longer, what's his real name?
Walter Kovacs.
Yeah, I'm no longer. Was that the killer? Like Rorschach's real name?
Yeah, Walter Kovacs.
It is? Oh, I thought that was I'm
not sure what the real guys.
The name of the killer I thought was Kovac, because he was like, whatever's left of
whatever was left of Walter Kovacs. Yeah.
Hello. Anyways, like I chose the line out of it because I thought it was still done well in the movie, but like it was just, I think it would have made more sense for him to like let him burn instead of like the like slat, you know, like just, I mean, it was brutal. Like, holy shit, just slash.
And I think that's Zack Snyder's sensibilities bleeding through. He wanted to do the more brutal thing and apply it to that moment. And I also think on the inverse, in making a movie where he's your protagonist, I know they imply that he kills the dogs, but I think if they show him kill the dogs the way that he kills the guy, it becomes harder to watch, which is, you know, it's that classic funny thing that viewers have where you can watch people be murdered, but dogs, and it's like, what the fuck?
These are also child eating dogs, though. It kind of changes it a little bit, you know, like these I'm still sad that they have this life, but like if any dog has to go, I'm okay with these dogs. But no, you're right. No,
but that's my thing too, is that I think that you had the opportunity to do something much cooler visually if he sets the place ablaze. Like,
and it's like, it's all about him. Like, he's like, I was too soft before.
The purification of being reborn by fire. That makes too much sense. And it's kind of, I was left underwhelmed by that as well. I mean, it's a brutal fucking scene, and they pull it off like, they got the word for word, like I felt the reverberations up my arm with every strike and stuff. Like he says that about killing the dogs, and he just ties that dude up and burns him alive. Like, that's pretty fucking brutal. After the first strike on the dude, he was dead. You know what I'm saying? And then he keeps going. So
true. Very, very merciful, for Rorschach. I always have trouble saying that word every now and then, but I did go. I did go with the line that he spit. He's a beautiful narrator. Oh my god,
wonderful narrator.
I love his narrator.
Great voice on Jason or Jackie Early Haley.
November 17th. Whatever was left of Walter Kovacs died that night with that little girl. See, Doctor, God didn't kill that little girl. Fate didn't butcher her, and destiny didn't feed her to those dogs. If God saw what any of us did that night, he didn't seem to mind. God doesn't make the world this way. We do.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And I was like, God damn, this dude is...
Well, and then that's what sends in the book, that's what sends the psychologist over the edge.
He's like, my God, he can't go home, he can't fuck his wife. His wife's like, dude, I need sex. What are you doing? You're way too involved in work. I just need some sex. What's going on? And I love that. Like, he fucks up the dinner, of someone coming over. Yeah. And the wife's like, you're just fumbling everything, right? Your life is falling apart because of this dude. That's kind of the furthest I got, I guess, with that. So, but yeah. And then I guess the movie
you got a lot to look forward to with the rest of that book, though. I mean, because you do get a little bit more with the island and what Comedian was talking about and
all
that. What they're working on, and
I'm ready for that. Like, I was ready for this island, these artists, these they
oversimplify it in the movie quite a bit as far as Adrian's like, Dr. Manhattan has been helping me replicate the energy that he puts, which also, when, why, how the fuck? I don't buy that.
Yeah, and I guess like the blocking his future, whatever. That's like I don't know if that's how it happened.
No, that's sound. That happened like the comics. In the comics, he something's blocking his future, and
that I was cool with that. But yeah, that like, oh yeah, he's been secretly just doing this without him knowing whatsoever, helping me gain his power. It's like I don't know. It kind of did seem sudden. Like, really? Like, like, I guess this has been your master plan for this fucking long, the whole time? Sure. I mean, I don't know. But in like the password on the computer, oh my god. How 2009 was that, dude? Freaking
Ramses.
Yeah. Oh, Pharaohs. Or whatever he tried. Like when
the camera tilting towards Ramses, yeah.
Oh.
It was fun, but I want to get back to Rorschach lines, because he has the lines of the fucking movie.
This dude. Yes,
because my line is also his, and it was one that I was waiting for. I was like, I love that delivery in the book, that actor delivering it in the movie when he goes, "None of you seem to understand. I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me." Fucking
is
brilliant.
That the origin of that line? Like in the novel, like. Because I feel like that's a pretty, like, it's known as like a common line that people say now, I wonder if this was like the actual origin, or if it has been said before. It seems like it probably has been said before. I don't know, but it would be awesome.
I mean, it seems general enough to have been said before. It's mostly just the context and within when it's said that makes it for me. Like the fact that This man tried to stab him, and then he gets melted by grease. And he's like, y'all don't know who the fuck you're playing with. Okay? Yeah, I locked all of you up in here. And guess what? There's a reason that fucking happened. You know, like, I'm the shit. Fuck with me, and you'll get fucked up. You know, like,
He did walk into the frame job a little too easily, even in the novel too. Even in the novel, I'm like, dude, what are you doing? I'm like, dude, what are you're this paranoid, and you're not even worried about where you're going, you know? Whatever. Cool. But no, him in prison, holy shit. Oh my god. You said your scene was him going to Mars and then building his home. That was one of my options, because I still thought it was done well. Way cooler in the novel. I feel like that's going to be a common thing that's said. But him like breaking out of prison when like the riot starts. It's like after his origin. So and then after he's like fucking up those guys. But what was his name?
The little dude.
But he had a name. Like the blank. Oh man. Damn. Oh my god, that's gonna get me. It's like, it's something, no, it's not the situation. Oh my god, I'm gonna die if I don't get this. And I don't even know what to Google. I feel like I'm immorally Googling right now. But, okay, yeah, there he is. Danny Woodburn, okay. That is his real life name. Big Figure. Big Figure.
Yeah, Big Figure.
Maybe that, I guess that's it. But like, whenever the dude just gets his arms chopped off because Rorschach just has him held, and he's like, well, sorry, you got in my way. And it's like, well, wow, what a way to...
1-0.
Like, oh my god, yes. And like, and the whole time, it's like, oh, Silk Spectre and Night Owl are gonna break him out. But he's doing fine. He's chilling on his own, you know, like, he doesn't really need them. But you also get this really sick hallway fight, you know, sequence with them two just going to town on these goons, on these prisoners, which is awesome. And then the freaking, like, he's like, oh, hey, Rorschach, you know, just like, it's like nothing, you know, and he's like, you know, just give me 1 second. I gotta go to the little men's room. What is that? What he said? Like, I gotta go to the little men's room. Yeah,
men's room.
Yeah. And they're like,
that's where my shot comes in, when the door's swinging and you watch him cower into the corner and Rorschach come up on him.
Good one.
Incredibly well framed and staged.
Is that in the
way that it's the like door swinging and him cowering? No, that was a movie original thing.
All right.
And it's I was like, hats off to you. That was really, really cool.
That is awesome. That was.
In fact,
awesome.
I was kind of wanting to go with something that wasn't 1-for-1, like straight from the comic, because, you know, it's not cheating. It's cool to adapt something from the comics faithfully and like capture it on screen in a way that it was drawn. But that, I was like, as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, that's fucking awesome. And then the blood seeping under the door and them walking away
that
together.
was a sick shot. That was just Rorschach just like standing there. Like, you don't see him do anything at all. You just hear, and you don't even really hear anything. You just hear the toilet flush and then blood. Like, I swear there was no like action. I don't know. Like, I didn't hear any like fighting, it seemed.
Nah, bro just like fucking ripped that motherfucker's.
Oh, and the line of the other guy that he killed with a toilet.
Yeah.
I've never disposed of garbage I've never disposed of sewage with a toilet before. Genius, though, or something. I don't know, something like that.
Ironic, or on, you know, like of course, or something like that. Like, he's like,
yeah. Oh my god, no, yeah. Jackie Earl Haley, he got the clean sweep for me. I guess.
And I was confident he would for you. So I wanted to spread the love a little bit. Because I mean, like, he is the highlight of this film. That performance is fucking brilliant. One of the better castings for comic book stuff ever. Like, as far as like what you think Rorschach will be like when you're reading the books, he does that exactly, you know? It's fucking brilliant. But I ended up going with Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Edward Blake, the comedian, for my performance. He's much more sparse throughout the movie, but when he's on screen, man, does he fucking rock. Jeffrey Dean Morgan is also so fucking hot. So like I had to go with him.
In The Boys, he's Soldier Boy, right?
That's Jensen Ackles. Jeffrey Dean Morgan is about to be in The Boys.
Oh my god, no, that isn't him. Holy shit, I was thinking it was Soldier Boy this whole time. Yeah, that's not the same person at all.
No, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, I'm trying to think of what you would have seen him in.
I've definitely seen him in something. And man, wow, I could have sworn it was Soldier Boy. The Walking Dead? Maybe. Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, he's a pretty prominent character in The Walking Dead.
Grey's Anatomy? Maybe
yeah, I was like, he just got cast in The Boys, so it's funny that you say that. Like, he'll be in season 4.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. Is he Soldier Boy's dad? Because they kind of do look alike.
Maybe so. Oh yeah, he was Thomas Wayne in Zack Snyder's Batman movies. And Batman versus Superman. He's Bruce's dad who gets shot in the alley.
Okay.
Maybe that.
Okay.
But I mean, regardless, I enjoy Jeffrey Dean Morgan as an actor a great deal, and I think that what he does in this role is I mean, he is scummy as fuck. The comedian is as bad as they come.
Always, he's always with the cigar and
dude. But yeah, the scene where, you know, he shoots the mother of his unborn child. And Dr. Manhattan's like, you shot her. She was pregnant and you gunned her down.
And what'd you do about it, dude? You don't like, oh, dude.
You could have turned the gun into bubbles. You could have done this. You could have done that. I love the way they explain Dr. Manhattan. I don't know if they do this in the movie, but I know they do it in the comic, where there's nothing he can do because it's all happening.
Mm-hmm.
There is not a future for him. There's nothing he can do to change anything because he exists in every single moment, making him a complete non-factor in changing shit.
Everything, what a wow, you know, like that's why, like, I almost went with him for character just because of how cool the character is. Like, there's no like, and it's only he can only know his future and his past. He doesn't know everything. You know, he's not omniscient.
No, things that he is present for, or knows of because he read about it in the future or watched it happen in the future. And I think that, like, what this attempts with my favorite scene of the movie, where it's showing the Watchmen TV show, fucking nails. Like,
I remember that.
That's a god walks into a bar. One of the best episodes of TV ever, bro. Like, is that
the title of that episode? Oh, that's incredible. That's incredible. That's kind of cool. Wow, it was in the movie too. It was like in a bar, and in the novel. I didn't realize, like, but he kind of just met. That's where he. No, yeah. Oh shit.
He meets Regina. Another interesting thing is that, like, Vietnam becomes like the 51st state of the United States after the conflict in Vietnam in the books. Robert Redford becomes president. All this weird fucking shit, alternate reality stuff. But that's where Dr. Manhattan. I don't want to spoil the TV show for people who haven't watched the TV show. That's cool. Sorry. Don't fucking listen to me. Go ahead and watch the TV show. That's not even something that's even kind of on your radar. But anywho, we'll probably talk about the TV show at some point. We'll get around to it. But yeah, it's Jeffrey Dean Morgan's scene where he's talking to Morlock and he's like, it's all a big fucking joke, man. He's sobbing on the, like, fucking incredibly well done whenever Adrian's about to toss him out of the window at the beginning of the movie, and he's like, "Funny, isn't it?" Like all that shit. Like
that opening sequence was awesome,
hard,
dude.
Well, and then you go into the fucking credits sequence set to "The Times Are a Changin'" by Bob Dylan.
My favorite, like, opening credits of I'd say of any superhero movie of all time. Might be my favorite opening credits of anything of all time.
I am 100% with you. I literally it was 3 days ago. I watched this movie 2.5 years ago for the first time. Haven't watched it since. No recollection of this. I do know that Bob Dylan was a big influence on Alan. Like the first title of the first installation into it is based off of like what's the? It's like it's something about the Watchmen. I can't remember, but like the little quote from Bob Dylan at the end. Like there's a little quote from somebody at the end of every book that kind of applies to the title. It comes back around, like I remember Fearful Symmetry and all that stuff. But
Bob Dylan's quote in it, there's two. Yeah. At midnight, all agents and superhuman crew go out round up everyone who knows more than they do.
Yes, at midnight, all the agents, I believe, is what the first one is called. But so I know that Bob Dylan is. I have The Times They Are a Changin' on vinyl. And when I read, I turn on music. And so throw that on track 1. Gather round people wherever you roam. And then I turn on the movie, and that's the fucking credit scene. And I was like, whoa! I was like, I didn't even remember that. Maybe there's like a deep. I fucking love. I love the soundtrack in this movie. Like, it is so fucking good. It's like everything that I listen to when Jimi Hendrix's All Along the Watchtower starts playing at the end. I am fucking there. Adrian Veidt's watching them approach his little compound and stuff. Like, oh my god.
I was confident enough to text you that this might be a Sumai worthy invoke for me. And it's because I was like, wow, this has like the soundtrack that of like Guardians of the Galaxy, where I'm like that into it, and it makes the movie so much better. It has like this real grittiness of like The Boys that is like this. The Watchmen walked so that the boys could fly. Like this is fucking source material. It feels like after watching The Boys, so I'm like, everything is ticking, and I'm like, Zack Snyder. I'm like, wow, like this is actually just cinematically super pleasing to the eye. He's also like not afraid to go into the camp whenever it's necessary. Like there's like Silk Spectre has so many superhero landings that are so badass.
Right.
Like Night Owl, like I almost chose it for my shot. It was whenever he suits back up and he's just like, it has this like super Batman moment of like just his like a theme playing, and he's like looking in his mask all superhero like just looking from side to side, but you see him in his costume for the first time again.
I'll say, like, I don't know when it changes for me. It's probably just that the longer I watched the movie, the longer it felt, like, cause I'm telling you, for like the first 40 minutes or so, I was like, oh, this is so much better than I remember. And then like, it just kept going. And I think I just kind of got tired of it. But I mean, like, it's an entertaining movie, man. It's fucking cool. I love the introduction to Dr. Manhattan where Rorschach walks up and he's bathed in that blue glow.
Yep.
And he like shrinks down. And I love Billy Crudup as Dr. Manhattan. I think he brings that apathetic.
I could have sworn it was Jason Schwartzman for some reason. I'm like, I didn't know who it was.
Similar voice.
The voice. I'm like, is this Jason Schwartzman just being all monotone? And
you know what? It actually is kind of fucking crazy that Billy Crudup hasn't been in a Wes Anderson movie.
There we go. Maybe we need him up in there. Did he
was
actually
later
play
in Zack Snyder's Justice League?
Really?
Yes, he was Barry Allen's dad. He's Henry Allen.
Okay. Did he play the actual actor of John before the accident as well?
Yes.
Or was it...
Yes.
Yeah, cool. I didn't know if it was the same person, but that was a shot candidate was during his accident.
Yeah.
For 2009.
one of the most iconic
Dude.
panels from the comics as well. Fucking gorgeous that one is.
Yeah. And I don't know, him, like, in live action, it was, I mean, to see, like, the different, like, systems in the body all at once. Like, you saw, like, his skin go, and then his muscles go, and then, like, everything just slowly unwrapped, which was really, really cool. And I thought it was just really well done. Or the, when Night Owl is having his nightmare, and they're just in that barren wasteland, nukes going off. They're both just naked, but then they're in their costumes, you know.
They like slice each other down the middle and peel the
Yeah.
outer coat away. Well, and it goes back to like Rorschach and like, you know, my face, not my face. You know, like he calls his mask his face. That's his.
Talk about an inspiration on the Batman. Like I feel like I was picking up a lot of like the November 17th, like his diary. Like I that kind of feels a little too spot on for it to be like, I don't like, probably pretty inspirational. And then just like,
well, and it's interesting because I think the book Rorschach is 1000% inspired by Travis Bickle, Taxi Driver. Keeps a journal.
Yep.
Has the exact same moral scruples with the world, like saw a dead dog today. Tire treads on burst stomach. You know, like that whole thing.
Streets are just extended gutters. Yeah, it's everything is just a shithole. We
need somebody to come through here and just fucking wash it out, you know, wash it clean, you know, like that whole thing. And it's like if Travis Bickle was like had lived through the final encounter in Taxi Driver and became a fucking vigilante. That's what happens with Rorschach.
Yeah. This is actually Travis Bickle. He was just a taxi driver before. That's how we knew so much of the city. He got around.
Wonderful twist in the comics that they don't really play on in the movie at all. Is the guy who's like kind of always there with like the end is nigh sign and the red scraggly hair. That's Rorschach.
They kind of allude to it. I don't think I got there in the comics yet, but there was one panel where it was like, oh, that's Rorschach. Like they were showing it in a way where I think like he was leaving or watching someone do something.
Whenever Silk Spectre and him, they leave the diner and they're walking across the street and he's like, that was another contender for my favorite shot when he's like in the frame of shadows and he's silhouetted and he's like, they didn't recognize me without my face.
They don't know me. And I lurk in the shadows.
That's why I was like super Batman like I don't know. It felt very Batman.
They think I'm hiding in the shadows.
Yeah.
But I am the
dude,
shadow.
And his mask was so fucking cool.
Love
my god,
the mask, dude. Like probably the coolest superhero mask of all time.
Love his outfit too. Like even not the detective, just
noir
look.
The design, like the character designs, on fucking point, dude. Like I love these. I love the, you know, I appreciate the book a great deal more for diving into like the history of, you know, the Minutemen and stuff and Hooded Justice and all this a little bit more. And Hollis Mason is a much bigger factor in the book than it is the movie. And the way Hollis Mason's story plays out kind of drives Night Owl, like the second Night Owl. I can't remember his name right now. Played by Patrick Wilson.
Dan Dreiberg.
Yeah, Dan Dreiberg. Their stories are much more tied together in the comics, whereas in this, it's much more like Silk Spectre, oh, I want you so bad, but you're dating the god, and
how can you compete with the god rod? You know,
exactly.
like we talk.
No, so like that's the thing is that I think that it takes the very, very most basic elements of the book and adapts them faithfully. But there's just so much more depth there when it comes to the comic. And like I've said, it's cool in the movie. It's great in the books. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
I was going to ask you, like it, for the movie, the changes that they made to make it 2.5 hours, like, I fully understand that no one alive can adapt this novel into a movie. Like, it's just not possible if you want
Right.
the full everything. But for a movie, if you are going to make it, put the debate aside whether it should be made in the first place.
Right.
Like if that's not a question, we have to make a movie. How much better, could they have done? Like with the time they had.
Probably not much. Probably not much better. I think that they could have. The reason they end the movie they do is because what happens in the comic books for the time of 2009. This is an incredible visual effects experience, I think. Like, compared to even a couple years prior within this project. Very, very fucking good.
Yeah, like what?
General audiences going to a movie, never read the book, would not like the ending, or they'd be like, what the fuck? It would just kind of be like, what is even happening here? Where did this come from? And that's because you need to spend time. There are portions of issues of books that you've seen so far where they go to the island and they have, the people, the thing is that everyone thinks they're working on a movie, and like they don't know what they're building, and they're just kind of like, oh, this has been such a wonderful creative experience, and so it's really interesting. But yeah, I think that I think that they could have faithfully adapted a few more things. I mean, the movie would have been long as fuck. So who knows? You get like this little in this movie. It's like a Easter egg where, as the city's blowing up, you see the newspaper stand guy and the kid who reads the comics hug each other and get eviscerated. Would have been cool if that was like an emotional moment. It is in the comics, like you spend a lot of time with them in the comics. And then you also, like I said, Hollis Mason drives Dan's story forward a lot at like as far as like a internal conflict he faces later on in the book.
Makes sense. Yeah, I mean they're just boiled down to beer buddies that check in with each other.
Yeah, no, and I mean like
the thing for Silk Spectre. And
actually the character that they probably explore the most is Laurie.
Yeah, Laurie's. I mean, like that's the biggest plot twist I think of the movie. Is that the comedian's her father, and then like how, like her mother deals with it. Like it doesn't make sense to her. It doesn't make sense to us as
ending.
well.
Great ending
there. And then like it's. Her arc is the most fulfilling out of anyone. Maybe Rorschach is number 2. More of the ending you don't want, but as far as how the movie ended, like if Rorschach lives, he's blowing that shit up, like there's no way he's keeping quiet about that.
Right. In the book, Laurie's arc is so they get everything from the book for Laurie in this movie because there's not a ton there in the book.
I see.
So like they end up being able to adapt it fully, and it becomes the most fully explored character arc in this movie. Her relationship to her mother and how she's been influenced by her, and like because they're building to that twist, and it's got to hit hard, or else it's like
okay.
It's interesting. Like in Dr. Manhattan, they do a lot with him. But like I said, that one of my favorite comics of all time, the one that's just him experiencing everything, that would take up like 30 fucking minutes if they adapted that exactly as it is.
So good too. It was so good. Like
So that's the thing, is that all these characters are explored more fully. Like they get close to adapting Dan almost completely. They just leave out Hollis Mason. I'll spoil this for you. Hollis Mason gets killed in the comic. And Dan thinks about enacting revenge and doing something about it, leaning into his Rorschach starting to influence him a little bit, and maybe that'll propel him to do something he shouldn't. And so like that wouldn't really fit into this movie as it is. It would have to be much grander, you know, like that's the thing is that I think that they do as well as they could have, I think.
For what they set out to do. And
I think Zack Snyder did exactly what he wanted to do. I just question whether it should be done. That's done, you know, like that's the thing.
That is valid. How much does that is that a valid I
think it's valid to consider for my enjoyment.
Mm-hmm.
Not critically. I don't think it affects critical rating. I don't think it affects anything besides my enjoyment and, you know, my perspective that maybe it shouldn't have been done could affect adaptation. But it's more, you know, how they adapted it that comes into play. But are you ready for that? Are we ready to rate it?
I think we have got every single favorite. Yep. We have. And I don't know. I think that this is the interesting part of the discussion is the rating of the movie. Like, because this is, I don't know. It is very.
Just let's go gut. After you watched this movie, where were you enjoyment wise, or where is this conversation taking you? Where does your gut go?
I'm in the 9s. Like 9 is like probably the floor. And what does that put it on the same level as?
Batman Forever, Iron Man, Mask of Phantasm.
Yeah. I mean, that is the thing about this is that I know it's not as good as the story that they're telling in the novels, but I'm having like it's just fun. This is like an adult, what adults, you know, what a lot of the general adults want out of a superhero movie. You know, they want it to be this super gritty, realistic sort of thing, but also still have a little bit of campiness to where you know it's still a super, like it's still in that vein of superhero movie, and I think it's done so well.
Okay.
The soundtrack was awesome. The costume design was incredible. Every actor was like acting their ass off. I mean, it was like visually awesome. I was like, I was in disbelief that I haven't gotten to this movie before, but I'm glad that I'm like, I wasn't a kid when I saw this, because if I was a kid, I would just be, I don't know, like, I would not come away the same way that I did.
Right. No, I get that. I do. You know, I think that my gut took me to a certain place, and then I looked at our other ratings for other comic book movies, and I came to realize that I always have to remind myself that we rate comic book movies differently than we rate like our director spotlight movies. Like the director spotlight stuff has become like my brain's rating. I'm like,
okay.
I'm like, oh, well, if this is this movie 7, that was where my gut took me. Then I looked at what else we have on the comic book movie list, and I'm like, oh, our 7s.
Yeah,
I would sooner watch this than a lot of our 7s. You know, a director's spotlight 8 enjoyment was King of Comedy. A comic book movie journey through film 8 is The Incredible Hulk, Ghost Rider, and Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, that is my 9 is comic book 9. I am nowhere near, because that puts it at like I think like Grand Budapest.
Fantastic Mr. Fox, I think we gave a 9. But I mean, like looking back, that was just I don't remember the logic there, but
yeah,
I appreciate you having the same attitude about it. Even so, with that adjustment, like comic book movie rating wise, 7, 7, 5, or 8.
Dang, we are far apart.
Yeah, like
wow,
substantially, like far and away the most substantially far apart we've ever been.
In Spider-Man 3,
I would sooner watch both of those before this.
Oh. Ooh. You know, and I wonder how much of this is me not knowing the ending of how good it can be, and then like,
and I don't want that, and you know, like that certainly affects my enjoyment. You know, it should, but it doesn't matter. You haven't read the ending, and if that's how you feel right now, that's how you feel right now.
My hesitation, I'm like, Iron Man. I love me some Iron Man. That's a 9. Batman Forever. That's a fun movie. Mask of Phantasm was just also incredible. So like, I was looking at 875. That's X2, and I'm like, I'm there. It's definitely an 875 or a 9 for me. That is where I.
So
would go.
we're a full point separated.
Yeah. So the middle there would just be 8.5 if we were just to compromise. No Sumai. Is that how we're gonna do it? Just meet in the middle, or
do you feel you can compromise that? Do you feel like you can comfortably admit to yourself you like this, or not admit, but we can come to an agreement that you enjoy this less than X2 and Iron Man?
Yeah, because it still puts it above Spider-Man 2, which is pretty incredible. That's a feat that is to be it is worthy of something. But me, I'm personally, like, I put it on my list. I have it like it's either number 5 or 6. I don't know if it beats Iron Man or not. I just have a lot of history with Iron Man. That's a comfort movie almost. And this is just very new. So I mean, it is either top 5 or top 6 for the project so far for me.
I've got it at 14. So I've got Batman Returns at 13, which we have at an 8. I have Ghost Rider at 15, which we have at an 8. And it goes right in between there at a 14.
Okay. I also just, the world building, I think, over here is really cool. This alternate American history that seems that it is very
the mythology is fucking fascinating. I will say your enthusiasm for it has heightened it for me. Would you be willing to go 825 and tying it with Spider-Man 2? Is that too big of a drop off for you, or do you feel like you need to push for the 8.5?
That was kind of a hesitation. I'm like, whoa. Like, wait a minute here. Like, Spider-Man 2, that's Doc Ock. I'm like, because
personally, like, if we look at the top half of our 8s, Batman Returns, X-Men, Spider-Man 3. The only 2 8s I would consider watching this sooner than are The Incredible Hulk and Ghost Rider. And even then, I'm not entirely sure.
I'm for sure coming here.
See, and that's dope. I am 100% cool conceding an 825. If you want to take it any higher than that, you will have to invoke Sumai.
Okay. Though the law has been set.
I'm like, 825 is as high as I will possibly take this.
I don't think Sumai is needed because I was okay with an 8.5. For real. And then Spider-Man 2 being an 8.25 makes me feel a lot more comfortable.
Okay, cool.
So no Sumai here. Maybe a future category though. I'm interested to see how it affects adaptation. I think is the most interesting conversation here.
Oh, for this one, for sure.
Yes, and I'm very interested to see where we lie on that. But
genre-wise, it's pretty fulfilling. I don't know that you could ask for a more exciting action adventure, sci-fi thing going on. Like this is is at least a 9 here. Yeah.
Come on. Yeah. Let's see. What's a 9? A 9 would be V for Vendetta. Which is kind of like it's a very unique genre, but it does.
Also written by Alan Moore.
Ooh. Yeah. Wow, that dude's got it. That dude has a mind on him. Batman Begins. Is a 9.25. Spider-Man 2.95. I mean, man, the action is actually so cool. Like it's brutal. You kind of gotta to be into a very brutal.
Manhattan explodes those people and their guts and inside
to the ceiling. Yeah, you see like an arm just flapping, like that's just stuck to the ceiling, and just the blood all over the girls. like just everywhere. Yeah, and people that get shot, like it's very real. No glorification on kills or really anything. It is very brutal, but like the action, it is awesome to watch. The twists are satisfying. And like, I don't know, like costume design, I think is a big thing for a superhero movie. I think they killed it on that. So,
like 9 is a floor for me. I'd be comfortable with you deciding beyond that. Like,
I don't think it's a 10. I don't know what would make it a 10, but it's pretty close. I kind of like a 9.
I mean, Spider-Man
2. I mean, that's pretty nice. You get, some horror vibes. It's a cool genre blend. I think 925 is kind of where I'm chilling, which puts it as Batman Begins territory.
Nice.
I'd say arguably probably above Batman Begins, but not on the same level as Spider-Man 2, though.
I get that. I get that. One of those 9.3, 9.4 situations.
Yeah. I'd say I'm more leaning to 9.5, but I can settle with a 9.25.
Let's do that then.
Okay. There we are. And here we are.
Adaptation. This one does, I think, deserve props for its adaptations of the characters themselves.
Uh-huh.
I think that as far as how these characters would act in any given situation, they got that exactly right. Mostly because it was 1-to-1 in most of those scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't think they explore the characters nearly as fully as the book. I don't think that
Agreed.
the spirit of the book lends itself to being turned into a movie, which does affect my adaptation rating. The ending is not the same. Similar effect. Very different. Very, very different, though.
I already know I'm gonna like the comic ending more. Like, I already know.
Yeah, it's.
I just kind of know. And
I think you'll love the way it'll make you go, what? Just like
it, and that's something's good when you're reading and you have like an audible or physical reaction. Whenever the comedian killed that pregnant lady in the bar, I'm scrolling on a laptop. That's how I'm reading it. And I go, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, holy shit. Like, in a comic book, I was so invested in these stories. And yeah, I don't know. I think it is interesting, for the movie that they made. The adaptation, I think, is pretty perfect. Other than the ending. I can't speak on that, on how it ended, if they could have wrapped it up better with the time they had. But as far as the characters, as far as what they would do on screen, the events that happened, I saw this as like a gold standard of what I would want an adaptation for one of my favorite comic book stories to be like. Like, if I say I have this Spider-Man run that I don't know, that I just adore, and I would want like this to be the bar. This is the minimum that it could be in order for it to even be.
The thing is that if you're going to adapt a arc into a movie, you're typically talking about 4 or 5 issues, maybe. 12 issues is almost fucking impossible to adapt into a movie. And it affects it for me. It really does. And the ending is massively different. I end up settling at about where we did for V for Vendetta, at about a 7.
I thought it was comfortably at 5th place. We have 4 10s. 4 10s. Superman, Mask of Phantasm, Spider-Man 1 and 2. The next score...
not even close.
The next score is an 8.75 for Batman Forever.
If you're going to adapt a book 1-to-1, you adapt that fucking shit 1-to-1.
But okay, I guess I'm thinking more of just the movie. Not because of because of how good the source material is.
No,
Just
definitely
the
not because
movie.
of how good the source material is. If you are going to make a fucking, and it does exceedingly well in adapting what it does in 2.5
Okay.
hours.
Let me ask you this: if you the comics vanish, gone, we don't have them anymore. You just have the movie.
Mm-hmm.
This is it. Like, it's still
Sound.
like,
It's fine. It's good. Solid.
I was gonna go like 9 over.
Mm-hmm. I completely understand. You have not read the ending of the comics.
Okay.
That's it's a massive fucking change. And I cannot get into it with you because I do not want to spoil it.
It seems as if the ending, like, it is just so much material that there's no way that it's possible in one movie, so that the ending that they did is kind of like just, alright.
No, yeah. And don't get me wrong. I think that will affect the critical rating more than it does adaptation. I think that, like, it benefits from what it does because it's trying to contain this story that it did. And I think, like I said, I think it does a pretty fucking good job at doing what it set out to do. I do think it is important that book is massive. There is so much that occurs that you do not get in this movie. And I understand that you literally can't. I think that affects it, though.
Like, as of right now, as of not reading the ending, I was almost considering putting it at a 10 for adaptation. Like, having not read the ending.
I'll concede. I will concede an 8. I will go up to an 8. I'll do that.
Okay. Yeah, it puts it on the same level as Iron Man, Spider-Man 3. I believe this is my favorite thing of Zack Snyder.
It's my 4th Zack Snyder. I like all 3 of his DC things more than this.
Oh man, no, this was just cool. I mean, I don't know. It was not what I was expecting at all. I thought it was gonna be more like Kick-Ass. You remember that? Like,
yeah.
I thought it was gonna be like that. And then I don't know. I thought they overexceeded my expectations.
See, and here's the thing: when it comes to those movies, Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, Zack Snyder's Justice League, they will do horrendous adaptation wise. But what he does with them is massively interesting. I think he does a very, very interesting thing with those movies. He expands the mythology in a way that is much.
I did kind of comfortably say that this is my favorite Zack Snyder thing ever. Yeah, his Justice League is pretty fucking
Zack
good.
Snyder's Justice League is fucking incredible.
You know, I mean, he obviously shows that he's capable of making a 4. Is it 4.5 or 4?
4 hours. It's 4 hours. But that's the thing, is that also he hadn't earned that yet. You know, okay. Like
True.
He'd done like
you do got to earn that.
Dawn of the Dead or something at that point. Like
okay. Yeah, you do have to.
No, yeah, like that's the thing, is that I don't want to undersell. I don't want to undersell this movie. I think it's solid for what it does. But that's as good as I think it is. Solid. Okay. I don't think it's great. I think it's a fine movie. It's entertaining. And adaptation, you know what? Fuck it. I will invoke Sumai on adaptation. I'm gonna go 7. 8 felt wrong.
Oh no. And you did go for it first, so there is nothing I can do.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do. This is tragic.
This is one of my. I think we said there's like 5 Sumais you can invoke across the rest of the comic book. This is the first one.
I thought it not one has been done before. Oh, it was an almost. I think it was like that was close.
We ended up agreeing. We ended up coming to the same conclusion. Yeah. We've had multiple. We were like, I thought I was gonna have to. But no, I'm going to invoke Sumai and call it a 7 because even that I feel like I am being generous with.
Ooh.
The way I feel about it.
I guess I just don't weigh the decision of if it should have been adapted at all.
No, and that's certainly a thing. You know, like that is to each their own. But for me, it's just
felt like more of like an honoring of the like it's not. It can't really stand on its own. You need the comics for it to really be good, and it felt like it was honoring the comics so well.
Yeah, I think it's clear that Zack Snyder has a reverence for the Watchmen. I think that's I think he loved the books, and it gave him an opportunity to tell a story that was brutal and dark. And I think more than anything, that's what appealed to him. You know, but as far as the thematic ties of that book, don't think he gave a shit about it because he turned it into a movie. You know,
this is fair. This is fair. Okay. It should be weighted in. I think I am just dismissing it a little too easily.
Oh, and that's the other thing too, is that I've done a lot of reading about Alan Moore's feelings about his work being adapted, and so that's influencing me as well. He fucking hates his work being adapted, and he doesn't want to be associated with it or anything. So like, there's a little bit of a bias, I would assume, but you know, it's a podcast. That's what we're bringing to the table. So,
okay. Wow. 7. And you know, and maybe I'll read the ending and maybe I'll be like, okay, I was way too...
I actually don't know that you will, because the effect that it has is similar. It's just a really different thing that happens. And way too vanilla. Like, the thing that the movie does is way too vanilla compared to what they could have done and what was done in the comics. So,
okay. I thought so. I'm like, no way, this is how it ends, right? Like, completely, I'm like, nah, this just doesn't...
No, like I said, similar effect. So, like, it doesn't affect the adaptation that much. I just think that if they went this hard for the rest of the movie, they should have came in there fucking dick swinging and swung for the fucking fences, because they did not do that with the ending.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. I will give props, though, to Zack Snyder. After reading the comics and being very into them, only halfway through, or a little bit more than halfway, I had a very, very good time watching. I think you did a faithful
super fun
job.
movie.
And I think you honored them very well. Yeah, cool. It was cool, but not to the level that the comics can get to. And it is fair. Like, I thought it was maybe a little selfish to not want your things to be adapted. Because honestly, like, if it's being adapted, obviously someone thinks that it is good enough to be adapted.
A reverence for it.
So like, you know, I think there's this automatic, if you're adapting something, then you already know the person who's making it has some sort of attachment or some sort of love for it. And I love one of the trivia things, is that the only actor that was familiar with the comics before was Jackie Earle Haley Rorschach, which is just fucking perfect.
That bleeds through like crazy too.
Like, oh my god, like, yeah, he just knocked it out of the park for me. I really enjoyed him.
Well, and his the performances, when we get to the critical rating here,
dude,
they're really strong across the board. It's a good movie visually.
Shit. Highest we've given anything is a 9, and that's Batman Begins. Superman is an 8.75. Dude, it's up there.
Ah, shit.
Dude, it's up there. It's better than V. It's better than V for Vendetta. It's better than X2.
No, it is not.
You mean, but the ending's that bad? The ending's that bad? Like, I think the visuals and
I'm not talking about adaptation. I think it's a solid movie. I think it's a fine movie. The ending's fine and makes sense within the movie. Yeah. I just don't think that highly of this movie. I think it's like I said, it's fine. Dude, it's solid. I don't think it's
look. It had a good look. It's like brutal but done well. This is like, you don't show this to kids. You know, I don't know. Like, this is not for kids at all. And this is like done well with superheroes. Like, it's not corny.
I'm impressed that this is that this is how highly you think of the movie. Because, like, I look at
like that door swinging, like that one shot, that prison sequence, gorgeous. So many scenes that are fucking like, oh my god, like,
and that's enough to make me think it could be an 8.
An 8. What would that put it with?
Spider-Man 2,
Okay,
X-Men.
okay. I
You know?
think it's comfortably better than V in X2 though.
Ooh, I disagree.
Like I would put it. Okay, Superman. I can't go that high. That's just a very well made movie. And that also is Mask of Phantasm. I mean, I would put it 8.5 with I like Spider-Man. Yes, this is like performances, cinematic, like everything that goes on in this movie. Yeah, it's better made than Spider-Man. Like
that astonishes me.
I would like. I mean, I love Tobey Maguire. I love Sam Raimi, but like
I think this is the most profoundly we've disagreed on a movie ever.
You said this was like a visual experience, and you're right. You're sat down in 2009. This is unbelievable to you. What comes before Incredible Hulk? Iron Man was pretty cool. I'd say Iron Man, but like, that is just, kind of a very realistic, but not this brutal. It's still childlike. This is if Ghost Rider was able to fucking go
was good.
Where they want. Yeah, this is exactly, and like, I mean, there's.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I don't think this is a bad movie. I'm arguing for an 8 over here, because frankly, my gut took me about 7.75. I don't think that Iron Man is pretty comparable for me, in terms of quality.
V for Vendetta, you think is a better
movie?
The story's better, I think. Yeah,
I think it's written much better. I think it's a much better written movie.
Yes.
And I guess
performances, I don't know. I might argue.
That is hard to say. Natalie Portman, there's just not as many. Like Natalie Portman's really strong in it. Hugo Weaving is fantastic in it. And visually, that movie appealed to me a great deal. But Watchmen has this like comic booky graphic novel sheen to it that it's a different thing. I will tie it with V. I cannot put it above V, though. The fact that you are saying it's better than Spider-Man blows me out of the fucking water. That astonishes me.
Critically.
Fuck, no.
Dude, just look, like the visuals, the soundtrack, the perform. Like, I mean, I think like everything's firing at all. Still, like the visuals alone, like almost put it like enough. Like,
I guarantee you, this is a great sign for what's to come. I bet when we get back around to Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, you'll love those movies more than you ever have. Those movies are infinitely better than this, at least in my book.
I think I probably agree. I think the comics are doing a lot of the heavy lifting.
Oh yeah,
I think maybe it's a lot of my excitement because like I'm fresh, like I'm
you are off your first read, you're off your first watch. I probably would have been in the same spot a couple years ago.
I'm going crazy, like I'm in this world right now, dude.
You're probably. I got to keep that in mind. You are on your first read, your first viewing. It is an exciting time when you discover Watchmen.
Oh, like I was like. I mean, I thought I'm coming in here like I'm like 10 adaptation. I'm like, holy shit! Like this is such a good honoring. It more of was like an honoring, not necessarily what they could have done. And I'm like critically, I'm like, holy shit! Yeah, like, this is up there, like with fucking like almost Nolan. I was like almost going Nolan level. Batman Begins. Like level of how it was made, because like Rorschach, oh my god, that ending scene, do it, what are you waiting for? Like him taking off his mask and like oh my
incredibly
god,
well performed,
holy
incredibly
shit.
well performed.
And even,
there's
even Silk
I
Spectre,
suppose that
her performance is as well, like her going up to Mars and being like, I'm not leaving in tears, like that whole moment.
You're doing enough to convince me 8.25 is cool.
Not enough for an 8.5. Not to tie it with
Spider-Man. You will never convince me this movie's better or as good as Spider-Man.
I do. I was about to slice my hand.
The Sumai was about to be invoked.
I don't know if it's that big enough of a gap. I don't know if it's Sumai worthy because
to
that is
argue
still
over.
pretty good.
Here's the thing:
825 is still pretty good. That's nice. That is really good.
if we get 5 total Sumais across the whole shitaroo, I am willing to spend 2 on this. We never disagree on shit. We never disagree on anything.
You're right.
You know,
man.
like the odds that this happens again are slim. If there's a time to invoke Sumai, it's now. What are we? Is this our 36th movie? This is the first time we've ever so like 1 point wide disagreed. Because I'm like, you're
not
doing
even
enough to make me go,
usually
okay, it could be an 825, but my gut's still Iron Man. My gut's still 775.
Oh, this is a different level. I don't know. This is multiple characters. This is like almost James Gunn good of weaving.
Oh, I disagree wholeheartedly.
It's not. Like Guardians is
I mean, like, don't I
character
disagree that
development
it's
so
even
much better.
almost like I just don't think that the character work done within this movie is nearly as good as it could have been. Like when you look at Guardians,
knowing how good the comics are, like I also think that is like going the other direction.
It might do something. Have you ever read a single page of a Guardians of the Galaxy book?
Ooh, no. But like,
how much did this movie bring a tear to your eye?
No.
Did it make you feel anything besides like, whoa, this is dope?
Put it against like an Avengers movie. Like a movie that has a bunch of characters in it, where you can't dive super deep into it, and you need to have some big threat and all of them to come together and do some shit. Don't compare it to like an origin movie. I think that's unfair because there's a lot of characters, there's a lot of world building they're doing. There's so much that they're doing in one movie here.
Sounds a lot more like an origin movie.
Yes, but of so many people. Like Guardians, that's the boom. It's not Guardians. It is not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not putting it Guardians level, but it is closer to Guardians than it is Iron Man. That I'm confident of, in my opinion. It's above Avengers.
I'll say this is definitely better than the first Avengers movie. I'll agree with that. I will agree with that wholeheartedly. I don't know that I'd put it better than any other Avengers movie, though.
That'd be, yeah, I think I'm more there. And like, but where do you think you put the Avengers critically? Like, is it 7.75? Is it 8? So is this only that much
I think the
better
first
than
Avengers movie isn't even as good as Iron Man.
Ooh. Okay.
And I mean, like, I'll have to rewatch it. We'll have to rate it and everything. So, like,
I mean, like, is this movie only that much better than the Avengers? Like, I think it's not even close to the Avengers. Like,
okay,
this blows the Avengers out of the water cinematically. Like visually, holy shit!
Visually, it's no fucking contest.
And when did the Avengers
Here's the
come
thing:
out?
critically, the Avengers movie might not be the thing to compare anything to. Like that's
fair.
I have a great time with that movie. I have a nostalgic attachment to that movie. It's not very good. And visually, it's horrendous. But
yeah, and that's
like you said, visually, this is miles better. Performances, miles better than the Avengers. Like I would agree with all that 100%. So that's why I'm willing to concede 8.25.
I'm limiting my scope to the movie and not the comics. Like I know how good the comics can be, and I know that they miss some beats, and I don't have the ending yet, and it is different. But just
like if I do that too. I still can't give it Spider-Man levels.
Okay. 8.25. That's the highest we can go.
Before Sumai is invoked, that's as high as I can go.
Let's see what that would give it on an average, I guess. Let me see what that would shake it out to be and see if I'm comfortable with that. At an 8.25, it would be a 8.19, which ties
same as Iron Man.
Ooh. But below V. So, wow. That's like really close. Okay, that's like kind of right where I have it on my list.
Mm-hmm.
Is right with Iron Man. I might like that. I don't think Sumai is necessary, but goddamn, I would love to give it an 8.75. The ending is the only thing holding me back. It's a little weak, and even for the movie itself, it's a little weak.
Punch 8.75 in real quick. I want to see. I'm curious what that would do for it.
8.75 would make it an 8.31. So it's
would
not
still
even
be below V.
Yeah. So like, that's what I'm saying. Is that like this is made very well. This was made incredibly well with so much care. The attention to detail is like from the source material. It's page by page, line by line. It's
hey,
like,
man, I have a fine time.
Spider-Man. To say that Spider-Man, I love Spider-Man. That is my guy. But to say that that's a better made movie,
infinitely better, so much better.
Story, yes, and the origin of a hero, yeah, it's really, yes, it is really good. But like, as far as critically, look at that movie. Look at them. Just look at them side by side. It's not even close. The performances, not even close. The writing is really the only thing that is better or that can be argued, but visually and performance, it's not even close. Like,
I'll concede visually. Performances in Spider-Man are pretty fucking good, though.
Are they dude? Willem Dafoe, maybe. Him alone.
Jackie Earle Haley, maybe.
You don't think Rorschach and like even Laurie was good? Fucking Dan was a little weak at some points, but he had his moment as well.
Don't get me wrong. I think I want to emphasize that I think it's fine. I think it's a fine film.
See, putting at an 8.5 or an 8.75 doesn't even. That's an 8.75. That's Mask of Phantasm and Superman levels. Spider-Man is 8.5, which would put it at an 8.25 overall, which still just puts it barely above.
You got a Sumai. You got it if you want it.
I mean, I am. Yeah. I mean, I have 5 of them, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, so that means I can do whatever I fucking want with this number.
Yeah, if you wanted to make it a fucking 9, like Batman Begins, you could. That's the thing. Sumai gives you all the power in the fucking world.
I need to stop being a fucking pussy and take some Rorschach advice. I'm gonna man the fuck up. I'm slicing my hand. My keyboard is bleeding, and I'm putting it at the level. I don't know if I can put it at Batman Begins. That is kind of nuts. That's Nolan. That's a badass origin.
It's different.
And the ending is actually works well for the sort of for the movie.
Mostly.
Superman and Mask of Phantasm. Ooh.
I have to piss worse than I've ever had to piss. I have to go like right now.
Okay.
I'll be right back. You got time to think on this though.
All debacle. Yes. Okay. I know Colton would say that it would be sacrilegious to put this on Superman level, but I am a big fan of modern technology and when a movie can look really good. So even though Superman came out in 1978 and it could only look as good as it did, I still find some bias towards the newer upgraded look because I'm 23. I wasn't born in 1978. But I mean, come on. Spider-Man by Sam Raimi. I love that movie. It's my childhood. I blew up 2 VHSs of that movie because I watched it so much. The Blockbuster employee just gave me the whole shit. He just gave it to me to keep because I rented it so much. And I'm comfortably up there. I think the visuals and performances alone are enough to carry it up there, even if the writing isn't as good. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I'm at an 8.5. I think I am at an 8.75. I think I'm going all the way up there. I'm not going 9. I'm going 8.75. And I know tying Superman and Mask of Phantasm is going to piss him off. Ooh, is the ending that... This is on me. This is not Colton, because Colton could forever say that I was the one who put the movie here, and not him.
So you officially invoke Sumai.
Oh, yeah, because it's either an 8.5 or an 8.75. That's
Okay.
what I'm debating. It's not an 8.25. I wish there was some in between of an 8.5 and an 8.75 here, because the gap here, I think, is quite big. Superman, Batman, Mask of Phantasm versus Spider-Man.
Peak.
Spider-Man is good, but it doesn't have this... Maybe it's just because of the style of... Maybe I'm into the style of this movie more. It looks way more cinematic.
Yeah, and Zack Snyder's visual palette is substantially different than Sam Raimi's. You know, like it's
beautiful. Like, I mean, it was... When I watch Spider-Man, there are cool scenes and cool shots and stuff like that, but it's not this. It's not this.
Yeah. The strengths of Spider-Man are the writing, the editing. Mm-hmm. The editing in Spider-Man is fantastic. Mm-hmm. And a couple performances that are extremely strong. Costume design also incredible. And, you know, like
whenever you were gone, I was saying, it does almost feel a bit sacrilegious to like put this on the same level as Superman, to say like this is as well made as Superman is. And I don't know if that's my bias of just being young and liking the look of a movie that is just with technology, and I know how good a movie can look versus what they had in 78 for Superman. Yeah. So I don't know if it's that, but like the visuals and performances alone of this movie put it above Spider-Man comfortably. Not like the writing isn't even a factor yet, and I do agree that the writing in Spider-Man is stronger. Yeah, but I'm still above it critically. Right. But like I have to, like it is comfortably above Spider-Man. I can't put it above Superman or Mask of Phantasm, so that's where it has to go.
Is 8.75?
Is tied with them, yeah. And
all right,
yeah. I mean, I was almost ready to tie it with Batman Begins.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly disagree, but hey, film is a subjective medium, and you got to do what you got to do when you invoke Sumai. So,
and average, it keeps it exactly where it would be. This did nothing
still same spot
on the grand scheme, so it didn't really change much. I really think that in the superhero movie genre, and this whole project that we will do, I think this will be one that I remember more than most of the movies. This is one that I will remember the experience of, remember how much it stands out at the time. Like, for 2009, this is the first of its kind. Blade did not touch this. Blade wanted to be this. It's not even close of how gory and whatever. Not even close. Ghost Rider wanted to be this. Not even close. Like, this is the first of its kind. It is almost like the gold standard of the adult vein of superhero ishness. I don't know what to call it. The superhero genre of this. So I think, I don't know. There is some stuff that I think, you know, it is very 2009. Some word choice. Some things that happened. It is very 2009, but
as far as it's made, it's a solid film, man. You're not gonna. This is the highest rated movie we've done in 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks, as far as this project is concerned. Mm-hmm. And we've only been back at it for 3, so it's been a long time in this project since we did something like this. Like 3 months.
A nice rise going on in quality of superhero movies, that's for sure. We will, however, get X-Men Origins Wolverine coming up here. We do get The Dark Knight, and that is Nolan, and we know how much of a masterpiece that is.
Yeah, we're looking at a new high next week. Probably across the board,
comfortably. And then we're very humbled the week
something
after.
we can agree on for The Dark Knight.
True. I don't think there will be any Sumai needed for Dark Knight.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
I don't think there will be another movie that requires 2 Sumais ever.
Yeah.
We've never done that, for one.
Yeah.
I don't think we've never even used 1. And the fact that 2 got used in a single episode is fucking nuts.
I liked this experience. It was also paired with a vacation, so that was awesome. I was in. Like, this was my life. I was reading these comics. If I was taking a bath, I was reading the comics. If I was out on the balcony having a coffee, I'm reading the comics. If I'm in bed, I think
our next best shot is Thor.
Ooh. You think I like Thor more? That much?
No, I know I like Thor more.
Oh, okay. I'm a big fan of Thor.
Oh, okay. Maybe not.
I think it's very underrated.
Okay. Well, maybe we agree on that. Let's see.
Another.
Never seen Jonah Hex.
Yeah, me neither. Me neither. Maybe I love the fuck out of X-Men Origins Wolverine. Like, how bad it is makes me fall in love with it.
There's almost no fucking shot that happens.
But that's the thing. The bar is absolutely at the floor. There's nothing that the movie can do
below the floor. It's in fucking hell.
Like, I might not watch it. Like, that, my brain doesn't want to watch it because I know it's going to be shitty. So it's like, anything that it can do, I don't know. That's a plus already.
I get that. Yeah, man. No, it's we leave this one in a rather nice place for Watchmen at an 83, you say?
831. Yes, that is
83.
Where it lands. And I think on IMDb 7. It's like a 7.1, I believe. Which for IMDb, not that bad.
Not bad at all.
Is it 7.1? 7.6 actually. Okay.
It's pretty solid. It's pretty solid.
So, okay.
Yeah, 3.6 on IMDb. Or not IMDb. 3.6 on Letterboxd, not IMDb. Which computes to a 7.2.
Wow. It is 65% on the tomato meter critically and 71 on the audience. I thought the audience score was going to be a little higher than that, not going to lie.
Typically are for a Zack Snyder film, but
wow.
Yeah, no. We're nicer than everyone on this one, as it turns out.
Okay.
But hey, man, it's a fun time.
I was a fan. And the comics, I think, did a lot of the heavy lifting.
The comics are fucking brilliant. Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Ultimate duo right there.
Yeah, it's not even close. Like, that is on another tier. That's 10s across the board.
Yeah.
For that comic run. And I don't think that's much of a debate. But I think the movie, for what you can accomplish in a single movie, honoring the
source material.
Source material as much as you can. I think Zack Snyder did a wonderful job. And yeah, I don't know. I like that it's around the Iron Man range. I do like that because that is where I put it overall on my list. So I think.
Yeah, I didn't put it too far behind Iron Man on my list either. Not one spot apart, but where you have Iron Man and Watchmen at 5 and 6, I've got them at 9 and 14, so they're a little lower for me as well.
Yeah,
we're finally getting a large enough sample size where our rankings are going to start to evolve a lot. And I don't know about you, but I've been changing mine. Like
there have been some I look at every now and then. I'm like, I don't know if I really feel the same. But it's never really.
Is that too high? Is that too low? You know, shit like that. But usually too high. Usually I'm like, oh, no. Like Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider went from like 11 to 15 after watching The Watchmen.
It's still chilling at 12 for me. Ghost Rider is. But no, this is at 6. I'm going to this before I go to Batman Begins. Like legitimately.
Well, hey, all I know is that we've got a new 1 or 2 next week on both of our lists. And with that, we will conclude this episode of the Penny Bloom podcast. If you would, please come back next week for The Dark Knight, where we'll be joined by Claire DeJaneiro. I can't wait to have her back, and we're going to complete the Dark Knight trilogy with her in the future. But in the meantime, one of the most iconic superhero movies of all time with The Dark Knight next week. David Fincher's The Killer came out today, and we'll be discussing that to conclude our Fincher spotlight on Wednesday, and I am very, very excited about that. That'll be a great joy to partake in. And then it'll be on to Michael Mann the week after that. So we've got a lot going on. We're still doing Winter is Blooming, a Game of Thrones rewatch podcast. We are in the midst of season 6, and good season, fun season, and we're heading in a good direction. If you would, head to patreon.com/PennyBloomPod, where you'll find over 50 hours of exclusive content. We just did a fun little story time before we got on the mic here. Joe's experience at a dispensary and my experience getting guns pointed at me by federal agents. That's available on patreon.com/PennyBloomPod, and they are both entirely true stories. So,
that's the crazy thing. They do not sound like it whatsoever.
No,
but I needed that
insane.
Recorded in case I needed to point anyone towards the story. Sorry, Mom, if you ever have to hear it.
It's a good one though.
But I think she'd actually enjoy it. Actually, if she heard it.
It's a great fucking story. So that's there on patreon.com/PennyBloomPod. If you would, head to Twitter, follow at PennyBloomPod, follow on Instagram at PennyBloomPodcast. Remember to leave a 5-star rate and review and to continue to download. We are officially 40 downloads short of our goal for the year, which means we will definitely get it by the end of November. It'd be awesome if we got it by the end of today. That'd be super fucking cool. And I'm so fucking happy with it. 40 download. I mean, we'll get that by the end of the middle of next week.
Dang,
so
crazy.
We're there, it's not, there's no question at this point that we will surpass that. And if we don't, we've hit a massive halt.
Yeah, something's going awry.
Yeah, no, for sure. But, yeah, the no longer do I need to make a call for solidarity.
Oh my God! Yeah,
the actor strike has concluded, baby.
Wow.
It's over. I can officially feel good about talking about movies again. I already was, but now I can feel even better about it. And they're getting paid for streaming. They have protections against AI. Their health benefits and retirement benefits are better. Everything on 10 for SAG-AFTRA and the WGA. They won, baby. Solidarity.
Jimmy Hoffa is smiling in his grave.
Down in hell, just so happy.
Yeah, true. Kind of a guy, but he was the spokesperson for Solidarity for a little bit.
Solidarity. Al Pacino's Jimmy Hoffa is happy right now.
I mean, hey, it only really took about what was that, 2 or 3 weeks? It was post Irishman that we started going Solidarity, and that came out on the 20th of October. We recorded it probably. We got through Scorsese kind of quick. I think
I think we held off on the Irishman until the week of. I think that was probably the 15th, 14th. So almost a month. Maybe we turned the tide with our calls for solidarity.
The solidarity. You just needed a little
solidarity.
Solidarity. And there we go. It's a good day. A good day.
It is. But yeah, so we got a lot to look forward to, and I'm so very excited. But with that, we will conclude this episode. I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It is always a pleasure to be here, my friend.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. And remember, peace, love, and bloom. And I heard a joke once. Man goes to doctor, says he's depressed. Life seems harsh and cruel. Says he feels all alone in threatening world. Doctor says, treatment is simple. The great clown Pagliacci is in town. Go see him. That should pick you up. Man bursts into tears. Doctor, he says, I am Pagliacci.